Hey, what's up mortals, it's Agent Xerxes here, and before we get into today's video, there's something I'd like to say. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. In this deep dive, we will be explaining Kurogiri, originally known and born as Oboro Shirakumo. Oboro was first seen as a first-year student, being in the same hero class at UA as Eraserhead, aka Shoto Aizawa, and Present Mic, aka Hisashi Yamada. Eventually becoming friends with the two of them, then jumping to Oboro's second year at UA. He seems to be an attention seeker of sorts, changing in class when he was wet using his quirk to make a cloud to censor himself, as well as later when Aizawa, Yamada, and Oboro went for work studies. They went to the same work study under his Purple Highness. During their work study one day, they ran into a villain where Yamada was more knowledgeable than Aizawa and Oboro, thinking about the situation stopping Shoto from being rash. This led to Aizawa being scolded for being reckless, and allowing the villain to escape, causing Aizawa to be gloomy for the next while, where he was then cheered up by his friends and Oboro lent him his goggles so he could deal with someone with a smoke quirk, and who he passed All for One onto. Then a few days later, when they ran into the same villain as before, they were able to capture him this time, thanks to Aizawa having him the goggles. After seeing how much of a help the goggles were, Aizawa then got his own pair, adding it to his hero costume, somewhat symbolizing their friendship. Later, the same goggles were adopted by Yamada, and the three decided to, in the future, make their own hero agency, where they could be a crime-fighting trio. A week later, Aizawa and Oboro were on patrol, where Oboro allowed some kids to ride on his cloud while they chatted, but they were interrupted when a villain started causing havoc, starting to evacuate people from the area as well, saving the kids when some rubble was going to drop on them with a cloud shield. Although Oboro was crushed by some more rubble, not being able to respond to Aizawa's pleas to check if he was okay, Aizawa then took down the villain, hearing Oboro cheering him on, but Oboro was crushed by the rubble being killed. However, after Oboro died, All for One took his body, using it for multiple experiments, somehow bringing him back to life, but not as Oboro, as Nomo Kurogiri. Kurogiri doesn't remember being Oboro at all, only being loyal to All for One, and fully focused on only taking care of Tomura Shigaraki. Kurogiri is first seen at the attack at the USJ, teleporting the League of Villains into the premise to try and kill All Might, fighting the hero 13 and nearly killing her, then teleporting all the students off to various places in the facility that had villains waiting to then hopefully kill the students. During the attack at the USJ, Kurogiri also aids Nomu in fighting All Might, opening portals multiple times so All Might couldn't get the upper hand. Although Kurogiri and his allies weren't able to kill All Might or any of the students before the fellow staff of UA showed up, who capturing most of their allies, only having him and Shigaraki escape. Even though they failed the point of their mission, it was still a slight success since they were able to learn that All Might was getting weaker, and who he passed one for all onto. The next we see Kurogiri is when the League tries to bring the hero killer Stain into their ranks. This leads to Kurogiri teleporting Stain to their hideout to have a conversation, leading to them being at odds with the hero killer, where the League then sends 3 Nomu into Hosu to hopefully kill Stain and some heroes. Although Stain isn't killed and instead he actually kills a Nomu, which only pissed Shigaraki off more than he already was at Stain. After all the Nomu are either killed or captured, Shigaraki and Kurogiri head back to the hideout, where during the final exams arc we see 2 people come to try out for the League, those being Dabi and Toga. Side note, the 2 of them were introduced to the League through Jiren. Although they trust Jiren's scouting and judgment of candidates, Shigaraki again gets into a slight fight with the 2 of them, that Kurogiri had to stop. They then agreed to talk about this later, where Dabi and Toga were brought into their ranks. Not long after Kurogiri helped Shigaraki with his plans to capture Bakugo during UA's forest training camp, teleporting the Vanguard Action Squad onto the property. Later, Kurogiri goes back to retrieve the squad, grabbing the captured Spinner and Magni, returning them to the hideout, then heading to the meetup point where some of Class 1A is blocking them with his mist and getting Himiko, Twice, and Nomu away. After Mr. Compress deactivates his quirk, freeing Fumikage and Bakugo, only being able to retrieve Bakugo. Once getting back, they restrain Bakugo, although later they unrestrained him to attempt to build trust and try to bring him to their side, but Bakugo refuses, causing a slight fight that doesn't last long since some heroes arrive to rescue Bakugo. The heroes quickly restrain and knock out the League, seeming like the heroes won until All For One intervenes. All For One teleports the League and Bakugo to his location, while at the same time teleporting multiple Nomu to the scene to stall the heroes. However, before they can get somewhere safe, All Might arrives facing All For One. While All Might and All For One fight, the League attempts to recapture Bakugo again and run, but are unable to because of Izuku, Eijiro, and Tenya's rescue. Realizing there is no reason for the League to stay, All For One forcefully activates Kurogiri's quirk, teleporting the League to a safe place. After All For One is captured, the League loses a considerable amount of power, causing Kurogiri to have the idea to find power All For One had hidden and told him about, then asking Shigaraki if he could go look, which he allows. During his search, he gets captured by Gran Torino and brought to Tartarus prison. We don't see him after this for months until the authorities figure out Kurogiri used to be Oboro Shirokuma. This leads to the authorities reaching out to Aizawa and Yamada, who are informed of Kurogiri's past identity. Using Aizawa's eraser quirk, the three of them have a chat, revealing that Kurogiri, he was once Oboro. As well, Aizawa gives a heartfelt speech without his goggles on crying out for his friend, where Oboro can break through for a second only, telling them hospital before falling unconscious. That's all we have on him at the moment of writing this. Oboro was a tall boy of average build with light blue hair, all while typically having a smile on his face. Usually wearing the UA uniform, but when in hero costume he wore a dark blue gi with a brown fur jacket on top, fingerless gloves, goggles, and boots. While Kurogiri has a purple mist that fully covers his face and hands, as well having glowing yellow eyes. Typically, Kurogiri wears a suit and tie with metal brace also around his neck, although when Kurogiri is in battle he covers himself with his fog, only having the metal brace visible to the fog. Oboro's personality was more jovial while always making jokes and witty comments, also being energetic, goofy, and shameless, even changing in front of his class. Despite being all that, Oboro's main trait was being selfless, always going the extra mile when anyone or anything needed help. Kurogiri, on the other hand, is level-headed, helping keep Shigaraki in check, as well being very polite to others and caring for others, always trying to make sure Shigaraki was okay, similar to how Oboro would. Although Kurogiri didn't know he was once Oboro until his talk with Aizawa and Yamada, Oboro has the quirk Cloud, which allows him to make clouds that he can ride and use as shields. Oboro also had a super move called Cloud Cover, which made a small cloud that blocks the opponent's vision, while at the same time making more clouds to hide it. Kurogiri, however, doesn't have Cloud as a quirk, instead having Warp Gate, which allows him to make a portal to another location with a dark fog that generates from him. Anything that comes in contact with this fog goes to wherever Kurogiri wants, but he needs to know the exact location where the thing will exit. He can also make multiple portals at once, evident from stopping multiple of Shigaraki's scuffles with the other members of the League. His quirk is also a combination of multiple different quirks, with Cloud being the base, although it's unknown how many quirks Kurogiri has that make up Warp Gate. Kurogiri also is more than just his quirk, being quite smart with how he uses his quirk. For example, when he opened a portal, so 13 would use her own quirk on herself. Oboro also has two pieces of equipment he uses, the first being his quarterstaff, which Oboro uses as his offensive weapon. He also has a gourd, which is a speaker-like device. However, Kurogiri only has his neck brace for equipment, which defends his neck, which can't make his fog. Also, the brace stops him from leaking info about the League. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there's a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, I'd like to thank our $5 Patreon supporters for helping to fund these videos. Lastly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video, as well as the editor for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of the video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you like the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have an amazing day.